Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do this really easy, super beginner offset shell wrap. It is made in a rectangle, so there's no V's, you're just going to be working in a rectangle. This comes out super pretty. Now this wrap is perfect for beginners. If you've never made a shawl or a wrap before, this project is for you. For this project, I have used Loops and Threads Facets yarn. It is 279 yards, 3.5 ounces, 100 grams, and 256 meters. So for this wrap, I used 3 of these balls. A few words of caution on this yarn. If you are new and a beginner and you've never worked with this yarn before, it is almost impossible to redo, frog, take out your work without possibly ruining your project. I made one small mistake in this shawl, and that was I forgot to do the extra double crochet, and I'll show you the pattern when we get there. And so I had this huge gap. I tried to frog it out, and what happened was this yarn pulled and it knotted so much that it wasn't even worth it. So what I did was I created my own little double crochet by sewing that in to kind of hide the fact that I had missed it. So that being said, if you're using this yarn, just be cautious. It is really tricky to work with if you happen to make a mistake. And for this project, I am using a 6mm crochet hook. This yarn is a size 4 weight, but it sometimes runs on the thinner side, so it does lend itself to being really drapey and open and very light. This pattern is worked in a multiple of 4 plus 2. So for the wrap that I made here, I chained a foundation row of 80 plus 2, so 82 foundation chains. My finished wrap is about 28 inches by 55 inches. The way that we're going to work this wrap is lengthwise. So our foundation chain is actually going to be the length from your shoulder to your lower back. However tall you want your wrap to be, that is the length that your foundation chain row needs to be in a multiple of 4 plus 2. We are going to work that across, so we're working your arm span. So we are working from the tips of your fingers held out all the way to the other and your other hand. So that is how we're working. And as usual, you can use whatever yarn and hook that you have available or that you'd like to use for this project. For the purposes of this tutorial, I am going to do a foundation chain of 22. So that is a multiple of 4 plus 2. Working back into the 4th chain from your hook, so 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to work a double crochet. A double crochet into that 4th chain away from your hook. You're going to do a double crochet into the next chain. Into the next chain, we're going to work the offset shell. The offset shell for this pattern is 3 double crochets. So work your 3 double crochets into that next stitch. Chain 3 and a double crochet into that same chain. So the offset shell is 3 double crochets, a chain 3, and a double crochet. You're going to skip the next stitch, the next chain, and you're going to double crochet into the next 2 chains. So skip that chain, double crochet into the next after the skip, and a double crochet into the next. You should have something that looks a little bit like this. Into the next chain, we're going to work the offset shell. So we're going to double crochet 3 times into the next stitch, chain 3, and double crochet into that same spot. You're going to skip the next chain and you're going to double crochet in the next 2. So skip 1, double crochet into the next, and 1 double crochet into the next. You're going to work this pattern all the way. So into the next chain, we're going to work the offset shell. So 3 double crochets, chain 3, and a double crochet into that same chain. We're going to skip the next, so don't forget the little chains that are right next to where you're working out of. Skip the next and a double crochet into each of the next 2. We have 2 chains left. I am going to work a double crochet into that very last chain. For row 2, we're going to chain 5, turn, and we are going to work a split shell into the chain 3 spaces all the way across. So very easy, and this is basically the pattern for the entire wrap. So 3 double crochets into that chain 3 space, chain 3, and a double crochet. We're going to work an offset shell in each chain 3 space all the way across. So we're going to do 3 double crochets into that chain 3 space from the previous row. So 3 double crochets, chain 3, 1 double crochet, all into that same space. Work a offset shell right into that chain 3 space. So 3 double crochets, chain 3, and a double crochet into that space. When we get to the end, we are going to find the top for our second row. We are going to find the top of our first stitch here. So just find the top of it, and you're going to want to work 3 double crochets into that top stitch. To start the next row, we're going to chain 5, turn our work, and work right into that chain 3 space. We're going to be working offset shells. So again, an offset shell is 3 double crochets, chain 3, double crochet, all into the same space. And that's the pattern. You're going to work your offset shells into every chain 3 space. Don't get them confused with these spaces where you jump over. You always want to make sure you're working right into the chain 3 spaces. When you get to the last chain 5 space, you're going to want to work 3 double crochets into that top of your turning chain. So just keep working along until you get the wingspan width that you want for your wrap. So like I said, we are working width-wise, so this would be where the wrap would fall on my shoulders, and this is where the bottom would hang on my lower back. This end would be one side on my arm, and then you keep going until you get the wingspan. So my length from start all the way over here was about 54 inches, and then from the top here to here, after I put on a border, it was about 27-28 inches. So keep working this pattern, and I will show you how to put on a very simple border. We're not going to change the pattern. We're going to just mimic it all the way around to create a seamless border. When you have the width that you want from fingertip to fingertip outstretched, work your last row, finishing with the 3 double crochets into the top of your chain 5, and this row actually acts as one of the border rows, because you can see it's got this nice little, almost a scallop little edge. So we are going to mimic the pattern across the top, down this side where we did our foundation chain, and then on the bottom, and we will finish up back here. To do that, we want to chain 5, and you're going to skip this big space here and work into the first double crochet. So on the rows where you have your 3 double crochets, kind of split them apart. So you've got the first one you did, the second one, and then here is that last one on the edge. You want to work the little split shell pattern into that stitch, so almost around that double crochet post. So you're going to find that space and work your split shell. So you're going to work 3 double crochets, so you work your 3 double crochets, your chain 3, and then a double crochet all back into that same spot. And again, you're working around the post of that outer double crochet. You're going to skip this space, and you're going to find the next space in between your double crochets. This one, of course, is just from my first row, so it may be a little bit different because we have more than just the 3 double crochets, but it's the same principle. Just work around the post of that outer one, doing your 3 double crochets, chain 3, and a double crochet. At the corner, we're going to chain 5, and we are going to work into this corner space right here. So we're going to work our shell, our offset shell, So work your 3 double crochets, chain 3, and a double crochet into that same space. Along the bottom, you're going to want to find these little spaces, and these spaces were created when you worked into those stitches on your foundation chain. So again, we are just going to work the offset shell into those spaces. So 3 double crochets, chain 3, and a double crochet. Find the next space and work the little offset shell. 3 double crochets, chain 3, and a double crochet. I've got one more along the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and work my offset shell into that space. Alright, we're at the corner now, and again we're going to do the same thing. You can see, so here's what we just did along that edge. We've done that edge. Now we're going to do the last edge. And then remember, this is our last row of our actual wrap. We're going to chain 5 and work the offset shell into that, around the post of that first double crochet. You can see it there, and just work your offset shell. So the border is essentially the same as the pattern. You're just working it around the entire wrap instead of vertically or horizontally. You're just kind of going around in a circle or a square or a rectangle. Skip this space, find that next double crochet, and work your split shell into it, or your offset shell. And we're back where we started, and I just put a slip stitch right into that chain 5, and you've got the little border on your wrap. You can fasten off, weave in your ends, and you have a very easy, beginner friendly split shell, offset shell wrap. The border really goes with the entire pattern and the entire wrap because it's essentially the same thing, and you're creating these nice little curved scalloped edges just by doing the offset shell pattern along the edges. And you've got your corners. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to give me a thumbs up. Until next time, happy crocheting everyone. Bye!